How you guys doing? My name is Jeremiah Gutierrez.
And I'm Dinema Mate.
And we're going to be talking about The Simpsons and how they've affected the pop culture over the past 30 years. And since its debut, December 17, 1989, The Simpsons has broadcasted 659 episodes, making it the longest-running primetime animated series and longest-running sitcom in the United States. The Simpsons have influenced the pop culture to the extent that it has changed the way we communicate with one another. This show has even caused us to add extra words into the English dictionary. A few of these words are chocotastic, craptacular, cromulent. A very common one is dough. Embiggen, even though not invented by the writers, they've made it very popular. Jabis, meh, impossible, and yoink.
Research has shown that the average American is tuned onto television for 5 hours and 15 minutes every day. A 1999 survey discovered that 91% of American children and 84% of American adults in the US could recognize characters from the Simpson family more readily than their own political leaders. Remember this data because we will be coming back to it. Lately, the Simpsons have been getting a lot of bad publicity due to their alleged creation of culturally prejudiced characters. Characters such as Apu Nahasa Pipma Pitilan, Springfield's Yogi, convenience store owner with a PhD in computer science.
Thank you for coming. I'll see you in hell.
Use of black voice, white actors who voice black characters based on cultural biases and stereotypes. Wrong portrayal of Native American women. Remember the episode where Homer kept on calling the Native American woman boob lady and portrayed her as ugly with big breasts and mocked the tribe lady while making her tribal chants.
How long are we doing this?
Until you have an epiphany.
Okay. What's an epiphany?
Sudden realization of great truth.
Okay.
Mocked every Japanese culture stereotype, sumo wrestling, Japanese culture, and used them basically as the butt of every joke.
Life! And now to find my family, save my town, and drop 10 pounds! Thank you, boob lady!
So what's the big deal? Asian Americans represent 3% of the primetime population. Native Americans represent 0 to 0.4% of the population. Positive media representations of ethnic minorities can have pro-social effects, fostering egalitarian beliefs and positive intergroups attitudes. However, the limited and often stereotypical characterization of race and ethnicity offered in the media influences the attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors of the audience members. Research has proven that the quality and quantity of ethnic and racial representation can influence a wide range of cognitive, affective, and behavioral outcomes ranging from how audience perceive, feel about, and treat different groups.
So that is how to create a single story. Show a people as one thing, as only one thing, over and over again, and that is what they become.
The portrayal of race and culture only in one light is prejudicial and creates biases. The Simpsons' success and influence in pop culture is undeniable. Here was a show that had the power to change the English language. How could it not influence the perception of a culture? Remember that 91% of children and 84% of adults in the United States could recognize images of the Simpson family more readily than political leaders. Remember that the average American is tuned into television for 5 hours and 15 minutes every day. So let's ask again, what is the big deal?
Power is the ability not just to tell the story of another person, but to make it the definitive story of that person. The Palestinian poet Mourid Barghouti writes that if you want to dispossess a people, the simplest way to do it is to tell their story and to start with secondly. Start the story with the arrows of the Native Americans and not with the arrival of the British, and you have an entirely different story. Start the story with the failure of the African state and not with the colonial creation of the African state, and you have an entirely different story.
So what's the big deal? The big deal is that The Simpsons have a strong influence on this audience and our society as a whole. It causes us to internalize these stereotypes that we see throughout this show and take them into our own world and act upon them, even though we've never encountered this specific type of race or group of people. Just because we've seen The Simpsons portray them in this certain type of way, we take that into consideration when we run into these people. We treat them according how Simpsons portrayed them to be in the cartoon. Yeah.
So, what is the big deal? The big deal is that human nature, it's in human nature to fill in the blanks. When we don't know something, we will fill in with our own story. And if the story that you know is what you got from The Simpsons, if the story that you heard is biased, if the story that you heard is just a little bit racist, well, that's what you will go with. So this is about power. Primetime television has a history of underrepresenting minorities. And usually this underrepresentation is with prejudicial and biased versions. If we could change things, if we could start representing minorities and different cultures in the correct light, maybe we would start seeing that the other, or rather the unknown, is just like us.
You know, it's the empathy and the compassion that comes out of having relationships with people who are different from you. Something really powerful and beautiful happens. You start to realize that they are you, that they're part of you, that they are in your family. And then we cease to be bystanders, and we become actors, we become advocates, and we become allies.